Good evening and welcome to the Year 12 Settling In Evening. This is clearly very different to how we would normally do things, but it is great to have you join us this evening, even if it is virtually. My name is Mr. Joyce, Assistant Principal for Director of Academic Standards at the Sixth Form. We are also joined by Mr. Ross, Assistant Principal, Head of Sixth Form, and Mr. Jones, Vice Principal, who oversees the whole of the Sixth Form Academy. It has been a fantastic year so far, and students are making the most of their Sixth Form experience. There's a real buzz around the Sixth Form Centre, and staff continue to comment on how mature, conscientious and delightful the Year 12 students have been to teach. The tutors are also incredibly impressed with the positive attitude students are showing. We're going to use this evening to talk through some opportunities available to students throughout their time here, as well as inform you of the expectations we have of students in and around the Sixth Form Academy. If you have any questions throughout the evening, please use the chat function available through Zoom. This has been designed so only we can see your questions. We will then collate these and provide answers at the end of the session. Many thanks and enjoy. I'm going to talk to you about the expectations that we have of our students within the Sixth Form Academy, as well as attendance and the importance of having great attendance throughout the Sixth Form experience. So firstly, as you all know, this is a very different year this year within the educational environment. We are trying to ensure that there's a safe return to the Sixth Form, and so far for the first 5 weeks our students have been brilliant at ensuring that they are abiding by all the rules and expectations that we have and that we established in the first week back. So we do have then various structural changes for arriving and leaving school. We are requesting that students arrive to school no earlier than 8 a.m, but they must be here by 8:25 a.m. and go straight to their form room. This is so that we minimise the amount of students on the corridors at any one time. Each year group as well has their own entry door into the school, so that again we are not mixing bubbles at any point before and after school. The students have obviously all been made aware of this, and at the end of the school day we are having a staggered dismissal of students, but our Sixth Form students have the normal finishing time of 2:45. You'll see here that we have the breakdown of the lessons throughout the day. So we have four periods a day now. Each lesson is 75 minutes long, starting at 8:30 a.m. with a morning tutorial, finishing at 2:45 p.m. after lesson 4, and then obviously students will then either go home or they'll go to an intervention. Our students again have been brilliant at making sure they're in the right places at the right time. At lunchtime and break times they have use of the Sixth Form Centre as well as Sazetta, which is our cafe within the Sixth Form. If students are wanting to leave the site throughout the school day, they are not allowed to leave until at least 1:35 after our afternoon registration. This is because we cannot have students leaving and returning to site on the same day unless it is to go to our Nexus site. Other than that, they must stay here until the end of tutor time, and then they're able to leave if they sign up via Nikki in the Sixth Form reception, but that's only if they do not have a period 4 lesson or after school intervention. And again, our students have been brilliant at making sure that they stick to this expectation that we have of them. A few things then regarding our safe return. We've got the social distancing in lessons. Students are encouraged to be socially distanced within lessons, and they sit facing forwards where possible. Hand sanitising happens on entry and exit to every lesson that they go to, and we do encourage students to have their own equipment throughout the school day so that we're not having to share pens and pencils, etc. And again, students have been fantastic in ensuring that they do have all of the equipment that they need for every single lesson. Face masks then are compulsory in our school now, inside communal areas, school corridors, lunch queues, etc. They don't need to wear them in lessons unless they choose to, in which case they just need to let us know that that is their choice, so we can inform staff that they have told us they will be wearing a face mask in lessons. And now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about attendance and what we expect with punctuality throughout Year 12 and Year 13 as well when they move up. So attendance is important, as you all know, because the students are here to do well and they want to get good grades. So attendance of less than 90% will actually reduce their grade by 1 whole grade, 80% by 2 whole grades, 70% by 3 whole grades. That's on average. So a C grade target student, if they have a 70% attendance, they're likely to achieve a U grade. A B grade target will attain an E grade. So you can see the impact that poor attendance could have on attainment at Sixth Form. Now, it's important to employers in the future. It's important to anyone that looks to work with these young people, because it shows that they're dedicated, it shows that they're well motivated, it shows that they're organised, they take responsibility for themselves, and that's just through attendance. And on top of that, they'll then have all the other elements that they've gained throughout their school life and sixth form life. So attendance is crucial. We're asking then that each student has at least 96% attendance. That is our magic number. I will be conducting fortnightly reviews to check attendance, and I've been having formal meetings with students who are dropping below that number. Obviously, if there is extenuating circumstances where they cannot help with their attendance being lower, then that's absolutely fine. But they must arrange to sort catch-up work with their teachers to ensure that they're not falling behind in their studies. We have introduced absence request forms, which a lot of students have already started filling in. They bring it to me, Mr. Jones or Mr. Ross, and we will sign it to say that obviously we've agreed for them to have that absence request. So that's if they know that they've got something coming up, like a doctor's appointment or the dentist or a family event. They must make sure that they come and see one of us, and we can sign off that form. They must then complete some catch-up work within 3 days of returning to sixth form, and it's the teacher then that will be checking that work has been completed.
Thing that I'd like to highlight to you is the pastoral support that's available in the sixth form. Our moral duty really is to ensure that the students are given every opportunity to successfully complete their courses, and it's also a practical thing that we know that some students at some point will find something challenging, and we are here to help them overcome those hurdles. So there's myself and there's Mr. Joyce, who are available in the sixth form as assistant principals. So the students, or you can contact us. Students are welcome to come to our open door policy offices and to ask us for help if they need it. And our email addresses are there. There's Nikki Chesney, who is mans the desk and mans the telephones and mans email. So if you've got anything that you would like to contact and for general dissemination, then Nikki's the person to give a call to or to email. And then Alice runs the supervised study area and study support, and it also is critical in helping students plan their university progressionary pathways, work experience, and then also supporting with work experience. So there is a large number of people there to help both you and the students, and it is a core part of our pastoral process that we try and keep parents in touch as much as possible, and part of that is please let us know if there's anything that we need to know. The telephone number at the top is 01209 720 228. That takes you directly into the sixth form. Please leave a message if there's no one there to answer the phone. However, if you don't get a response within 24 hours or so, there's something that's gone wrong. So please email chesney@campbellandscience.co.uk or ross@campbellandscience.uk, and we promise to get back to you as soon as we can. Many thanks.
At our sixth form, we also have set up an honours programme. So the honours programme is all about us having an opportunity to provide students with praise for engaging with all the different things they can in terms of their academic studies and in terms of things they do outside of the classroom as well. So that includes completing additional independent work. So the students have crunchy packs, for example, which include loads of different tasks for all of their subjects that they can complete independently in supervised study or silent study or after school. It really gives them the edge over other students. And bingo cards, which are loads of independent activities which are linked to their up-and-coming milestones. So if they complete those activities, they'll do really well in their assessments. But it's not just the academic, it's the other stuff. So if they go off and volunteer and let us know anything they do for charity, taking part in the DV or the 10 tours, doing the summer schools, looking at virtual open days with universities. On top of that, you've got, if there's acts of kindness, we're looking to reward that as well and encourage kindness and praise for punctuality and organisation. So many ways of students getting praise and earning points as well. You can see these through class charts. So if you have your parental login or if you want to get a parental login, contact the sixth form. We can do that for you and you can see how they're doing. What happens is at the end of each term, there'll be a leaderboard for the different categories and overall, and there'll be recognition in an assembly with loads of prizes as well for the best students. And then at the end of year 13, just before Easter, there'll be a graduation, again some prizes, just to say well done for the engagement in the sixth form, as measured by their honours points, and if they're in the top 10%, there'll be a first class honours award, or next 20% second class honours award, etc. But really looking for students to engage with everything there is at sixth form and beyond, and for them to be rewarded for that.
Next, I would like to talk to you about the support that we have available to our students to support them with their academic studies. On top of their normal lessons each week that they have for each individual subject, we have a number of things in place to ensure that our students achieve their full potential. The first thing that I'd like to talk to you about is supervised study sessions. Now, each student has these allocated on their timetable where they work independently in one of the sixth form rooms on something that they have been given by their teacher, or something that they feel would support them and help them with making progress in their subjects. This could be homework, it could be crunchy packs, it could just be independent revision that the student chooses to complete. We then have Bridging the Gap packs, which follow assessments. They've just completed their baseline assessments, and students have been given a Bridging the Gap pack for subjects where they didn't quite achieve what they were capable of achieving, and therefore this work has been set to ensure that students do close the gaps in the knowledge that they have before they have retested to see the progress that they've made in just the first couple of months. We then have crunchy packs, which are designed by the teacher to provide extra work that will support with the content that is being covered in lesson time, and students have now been given these and are working through them in their independent study time. We also have bingo cards, where students are given 9 activities before an assessment, before a milestone, and if they tick off the 9 activities that they complete, they'll be in a better position when sitting that assessment. We have step assessments throughout the year, which are like stepping stones to the bigger assessments, and this is an opportunity for students to show off what they are capable of doing, and it's another opportunity for the teacher then to assess where those students are and adapt their teaching and the future lessons to support our students with their studies. We have milestones, which are the bigger assessments throughout the year. Our first milestone is coming up before Christmas, and students will sit a formal assessment in each subject, and the teacher then can see exactly where our students are and where they need to go with after Christmas. We have intervention available to students, so some students will have formal external exams in the January season, and we have intervention in place now for these students after school, once a week or once a fortnight, where they receive extra tuition on the content that they'll need and the skills and knowledge that they need to have before they sit their assessment. And another intervention timetable will be released after Christmas for students who have then exams in June. We also have tutors, so each student will have their own tutor that they see in the morning and afternoon, and these tutors are there to support with pastoral matters, but also to support them with their planning. So they plan their time out every Monday afternoon for the week, and then they adapt these plans every morning tutorial to ensure that they are able to complete their homework, that they feel organised and they feel on top of their studies rather than it becoming an overwhelming environment. Instead, it's an opportunity for them to be in control of their learning and making sure that they hit the deadlines available to them. And the tutors are there to support them through this process. If a student starts to feel overwhelmed by the amount of work that they've got, they must go and speak to their tutors, or they can come and see one of us in the sixth form team to ensure that the whole point of us is to be there to support them and make sure that they can achieve their full potential. So students must ensure that they continue to talk to us so that we can help and support in any way possible. And the final thing we have is, on top of all of this, is silent study. So if they have a free on their timetable, we have a silent study room available to them to go in and complete any extra work that they feel would help them to support their studies. And it is done in silence so that students are able to concentrate and focus at all times.
One of the things that we need to be thinking about at the moment is what happens when the students leave, which I know seems like an odd thing to do since they've just joined, but the time will fly, and in about 18 months from now, the students will be completing their A-level examinations and submitting their coursework and planning to leave. So now is quite a good time to start thinking about what progressionary pathways are. Now, last year our academic results were fantastic, and they have been consistently over the last few years. And we're really delighted that that gives the students the opportunity to progress to wherever it is really that they want to go to. Now, last year, 75% of our students applied and secured places at universities, and a third of those people secured university places at one of the top Russell Group universities, which is something that they can be very proud of. Students can also be really proud of the fact that about 20% of them secured apprenticeships, both local and more distant, some apprenticeships even out of Cornwall, which is fantastic. And about 5% of our students are really proud of the fact that they got a job and they took their A-levels into the world of work. And that's all really, really positive. So the process in terms of securing a progressionary pathway or destination of value to the student is a bit time consuming, and they can start that process now. So what they can do is they can start doing some research. They can go online, they can look at courses, apprenticeships, universities, jobs that are available, and start clarifying their thought processes about where they want to go. Now, one of the joys of that is that you have an opportunity to discuss that with your child. You can ask them what it is their plans are, where they want to take their A-levels, and to try and help them form a bit more of a firm decision over what their plans are. And that's both the case if they have no idea where they want to go, or if they have a fairly good idea of where they want to go. We will be supporting that process from after Christmas. We'll be using some independent online facilities to give them a bit more direction. And there's a whole pastoral programme of support for that as well that runs really in depth from Easter right the way through until January the 15th, which is the deadline for general entry UCAS applications, or October the 15th for early entries like medicine or vet science. Part of that process also includes some work experience. So we help support students with work experience later in the academic year towards the summer holidays. But it's also brilliant if they can start thinking about that independently now, start placing some feelers out for places that they might want to get some work experience. And also if they start thinking about what they're going to be doing in the summer holidays, maybe October half term, February half term, to make sure that they have some value to their progressionary routes. Anything that they do that has some form of CV value, either for personal statements for UCAS or for job applications, they should be taking a note of. It's really surprising how quickly people forget about all the wonderful things they do. So if they do have a part-time job, or they are doing some volunteering, or they have helped somebody out in some way, or they have done something wonderful, then please encourage them to take a note of it so they can use them later on this academic year. Now, something a bit shorter term is the scholarship programme. So the students have been told about this, and the application forms are all online. We do run a scholarship programme here. We set it up about 5 years ago to make sure that every student, irrespective of their family incomes, have the opportunity to go and do something wonderful. And this came up when about 5-6 years ago, I was speaking to some students who really wanted to do something, but they couldn't afford to do it. So we set up a scholarship programme. Students can apply for funding up to £1,000 to go and do something wonderful. The only things they really need to do is make sure it's safe, because parents keep responsibility for safeguarding and ensuring the trip will go well. They also need to make sure that there is some value to the trip. So if it has some value towards their academic outcomes, or towards securing a job, or securing a university place, or securing an apprenticeship, then it has merit, and they can apply. Not every applicant is successful, even if it's a really good applicant, because the funds are limited, but it's well worthwhile putting an application in. And over the past few years, we've had students do all sorts of wonderful things. So in terms of supporting their subjects, students have gone to London in order to visit museums. They've gone to Seville to practice their Spanish language skills. They've gone to France to practice their Spanish language trips. They've gone to all parts of the UK in order to visit Buddhist temples in order to support their philosophy and ethics course. We've had students who've gone and accessed very specific examination preparation centres like Villiers Park. Students who've done courses that will enable them to access their employment or apprenticeship dreams. So we had one lad who wanted to be a snowboard instructor working in leisure and tourism, so we helped him along the way there. We had a young lady who wanted to become a marine biologist, so we supported her in securing her scuba diving PADI course. We've had people go off and do work experiences all over the world, really. So in Africa, especially with regards to gap medics, we've had people go to Canada to look at engineering firms. We've had people go off and do international social work courses in places like Nepal and Sri Lanka and Argentina, looking at legal aid and primary education. And then we've had students who have gone off to get experience of life with very specific, again, courses that will support their applications to places like Oxford and Liverpool and London. So there's a whole variety of things that students can do. The deadline for that is October half term. So the start of October half term, about 4 o'clock, it needs to be on my desk. And then what will happen is that over half term, I'll have a look at the applicants. I will then schedule them in for a panel interview. We'll then do an interview, and then by about the end of November, the students will be told whether they've secured some funding or not. So that's something that you can certainly help with. If anyone has any questions about it, then please come and speak to me at some point.